All right, first talker today, Chris Paget, and it's Extreme Range RFID. Let's give him a big hand here.
But in the meantime, let's figure out what we should be able to do with this system. Well, we're going from 1 watt of RF power in the commercial reader to 70 watts coming out of the power amplifier. That's an 18 decibel increase in power, which from the radar range equation, you get the square root of that as a range gain. We should see a 9 decibel increase in range. From the antennas, we've gone from 6 decibels to 13 decibels over isotropic. So 7 dB increase gives us a 3.5 dB range increase. So overall, we should see a 12.5 decibel increase in range. So comparing that to our 30 feet reference from the commercial reader, we should see a range of about 565 feet. What did we get? 217. Not what I was hoping for, but if you can see in the picture, my wife in the distant background holding the tag, 217 feet is a long way to be reading an RFID tag from. Hey, too far. Okay, so what you're looking at, there's 3 things that you're going to be seeing on the screen here. White text is where the system has interacted with a tag in some fashion. Maybe hasn't, quite gotten the response it expected, but it sent a command and it got a response, something went on. If you see a red text means that it's read a tag, but something went wrong. There was an error, maybe the EPC that came back failed its checksum, something like that. Blue text is a successful read. So don't worry too much about what's actually on the screen, just look at the color of the text. White means it's interacting, red means it's a bad read or fault of some kind, blue means it's a successful read. So let me turn the power amp on here. Okay, and straight away, without anyone holding up any real tags, you can see we've got collisions. So that's largely due to the sheer density of tags in this environment. It's really not designed for this many tags. So we'll see how this copes. If you look at the tags that you were given, you should see there's a metal strip inside it. The orientation of the metal strip has to match the antennas. It has to be the same polarity. So make sure to hold the tags up sideways so that metal strip is vertical, just like the bars on the antenna. So you can see there's quite a huge amount of traffic scrolling by here. So what's the upper limit here? We've clearly validated the radar range equation. We've got solid evidence that the radar range equation is valid in this environment. So how far can we take it? Well, under ham radio rules, we can have 1.5 kilowatts of transmit power. So what's the biggest antenna that we can get? Well, this is the largest I've been able to find. This is a 2x2 array of 26-foot long Yagis. So each Yagi, each boom is 26 feet long, and the 4 antennas that you see actually are all configured as one big antenna. So we actually get about 26 dBi gain out of this. And if you run the numbers, if you put a legal limit transmitter into that big an antenna, you should get a read range of about 2 miles. So that's what you can do with ham radio. What about the military? This is a naval radar system called ANSPS-49. SPIS-49 is how they refer to it. It runs at 851 to 942 megahertz, so nicely overlaps our band. 280,000 watts peak power. That's shiny. Want. Dish 24 feet wide, 14 feet high, gives us about 35 dBi. If you crunch the numbers on this, assuming it's possible to backport a Gen 2 system into this, you should get a read range of about 80 miles. Kind of scary. But we're not done yet. Logical limit. Arecibo Radio Observatory. Believe it or not, amateur radio operators do get access to Arecibo sometimes. A couple of months ago, there was a group got access. They put a 400-watt transmitter on the Arecibo dish, pointed it at the moon. And the idea was that you had amateur radio operators all around the world with little tiny handheld Yagis, much smaller than this, pointing them at the moon and bouncing reflections off the moon to Arecibo and talking from anywhere around the world to Arecibo with a moon bounce. It's kind of neat. Entirely amateur run. So it does happen. It's theoretically possible that we could put a 1.5 kilowatt legal limit transmitter on the Arecibo Radio Observatory. Again, if you crunch the numbers with that, 317 miles. To put that into perspective, if you were to put an EPC Gen 2 tag on the International Space Station, you should be able to read it with this as it flies overhead. It's ridiculous range, absolutely preposterous. Just